And now making his podcast debut on the Move to Spain podcast is Ivan, one of our immigration lawyers at justlawsolicitors.com. Hi, Ivan.
Hello, John. As always, good to see you. Thank you for the opportunity.
How are you?
A bit nervous, but
Don't be
it's
ner-
my first time.
don't be nervous. You're the expert. This is so complicated. What we're going to talk about today is, as I understand it, there's a new visa coming out on the 20th of May aimed at people looking for work in Spain.
Well, that is correct. You could say it is called the employment seekers visa, or it is usually intended for people that might be interested working in Spain,
Yeah,
proving that they do not have Spanish nationality or are not European Union residents or family members of those.
yeah. Ivan's way ahead of me. Yeah. If you listen to this and you've got an EU passport, and that includes Ireland, and you're married to an EU citizen, then watch our other videos, listen to the podcast, but this isn't for you. Skip ahead. Right. So, yeah, it's for people who don't have an EU passport. So, for example, people from the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, etc., etc. Oh, yeah. So, this visa, the job seekers visa or looking for work visa, we'll have to see what everyone starts calling it when people give it their own name. But who can apply for this visa then? What are the requirements?
Well, initially, it is supposed to be intended for children and grandchildren of Spanish citizens, and also for specific job openings, specific areas, geographical areas, or occupations in Spain.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it's for people who have a Spanish parent or grandparent, or for
Yeah.
people who are looking for certain jobs in certain areas in
Correct.
Spain. Right. Okay. So that's basically it. So with the people who have a Spanish, what's the difference if you're if your father is Spanish, say, or if I don't have any Spanish relatives, what's the difference when I apply for the visa?
Regarding the other way of doing so, you mean by applying for a specific opening or for a specific profession in a specific geographical area?
Oh, right. So that's the difference. So if I have a Spanish parent, say, I can just come. But if I don't have a Spanish parent, I can only come and looking for certain jobs in certain areas.
The visa procedure is always supposed to start at the country of your origin, where you're residing, at the consulate.
Right.
There are a specific perk for descendants of Spanish citizens that were born in Spain, Spanish citizens that were born in Spain, Spanish of origins, I would say.
Yeah.
Their perks is they are not subjected to they're exempt from the assessment of the national employment situation, which means that they are not required to fit certain roles, certain
Oh,
professional
okay.
roles, or certain geographical area requirement roles.
Right.
Although they'll still be subject to certain rules that will be that are detailed in the ministry order.
Right. So basically, they can look for everything everywhere is open to them. And for example, if I was an American with no Spanish relatives, I would just have certain geographical areas and certain jobs that I could apply for. Right. Okay. I understand that. Now, so how do people apply for it? Can they apply from their own country or can they apply for Spain or how does it work?
They're always supposed to start applying to their country of origin.
Right.
Okay.
So,
One, yes.
so the country that you have your passport, to keep it simple. If you're an American and and you're living in America,
Well, you will be required to provide certain documentation, such as, for example, in your absence of criminal record in Spain or in your own country for the last 5 years. Additionally, a medical certificate stating that you do not suffer or experience any illnesses that might affect the public health
yeah,
or any drug addiction. What else can we think about? Usually, there's an economic threshold for every person. It's around 7,200 euros.
Right,
The start of the application. Those are the main ones that I can think of. Additionally, I think I left out the necessity to have medical insurance
right, yeah,
without co-payment and with full coverage.
right.
And those usually are the main requirements. And most likely you'll be required certain certificates or maybe diplomas or proofs of that justify your suitability for that specific opening.
Yes, if I'm applying, if I'm American or Canadian, and say, for example, I'm a doctor and I want to come to Spain and be a doctor, hypothetically, I'd have to prove that I am a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, to keep it simple.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Have they released the lists of the areas and the jobs yet?
Not yet. There was a ministerial order that was issued, I think, the 27th of December, but it only detailed the instructions and the guidelines.
Right.
For all those who are interested in acquiring this residence, right, for employment seekers in Spain, I suggest to pay attention for any updates from the BOE or the Spanish official gazette.
Yeah, and we'll put it on the video. Yeah, just to be clear, we're recording this on the 27th of March 2025. And as Ivan said, they haven't released the areas yet and they haven't released the professions. But obviously, as soon as it happens, Ivan will come back on, or if it's straightforward and I understand it, I'll do a video and show people, what they can, where they
According
can
to
go.
the, I'm so sorry, sorry to interrupt you. According to the law, the ministerial order describing or regulating the collective management of hiring at the origin countries can include a list or an amount of or a number of openings for these visas, but it
Right,
does not necessarily have to, which
right,
means that it can be included. Or this year, for example, we might not be lucky on that regard.
right.
There
Okay.
might be no openings, but we will know within the following months.
Well, I hope so because the 27th of March and it comes in on the 20th of May, is it?
Yes, well, from the 20th of May is when this procedure will start being enforced, so to say,
Right,
legally. But if the clarifications or further information or further orders to complete the initial from the ministry completing this one might be issued even after that.
right. Okay. And like I was saying before, you can apply from the country where you're living, or some people might be living in resident in a different country, but they have a different passport. So they would apply from the country that they're resident in. You could be, I
Yeah,
don't know,
that is correct.
American and you could be resident in France or something, and you could apply
Yes,
from
exactly.
there.
It will depend on the area of residence
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the concept to which they're supposed to handle this through.
right. So what would happen if I come on this visa? I know which jobs I can apply for. I know which area to go to, and I manage to get a job. What happens then?
Well, first things first, your employer is supposed to start your application before the immigration office of the province of the residence or where you currently are in Spain. And once they gather all the necessary documentation, the immigration office will have up to 3 months to review the application and provide you with a resolution, or either accepting it or rejecting it,
Oh,
or
right,
requesting further documentation.
right, excellent. And let's assume the worst. We're lawyers, and we always assume the worst. Let's assume I come here and look for my job, and I don't find one. What happens to me then?
Unfortunately, after you initially you would be supposed to leave, abandon Spain before the expiry of the visa.
Yeah, yeah. Like any
Or
other visa, I'm only allowed in Spain until my visa ends.
although it might depend because every different individual case is a world on itself. So we might
Right,
and something else might be done. Maybe review. Maybe they have Spanish family members there in Spain. Maybe they have something entirely else. We could spend hours talking about this, but each application would have to be reviewed individually and see if we can try to move that or try to implement a different scheme for that person, for a different residence
I'm
scheme.
just trying to think hypothetically, would there be a possibility if I got a job online, say I'm an American, I'm looking for a job here, I don't find one, and then or if I'm from the UK and I get a job online in the UK, would I be able to change to the digital nomad visa in theory?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you should be able to,
No,
absolutely.
it's not the
As
end of
long
the, it's
as
not
long as
the
you
end of the world.
qualify and have all the information and documentation requirements, you should be able to do so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The other question was, what about starting my own business in Spain? I know there's a self-employed visa, and I know that under the digital nomad visa, I can be self-employed. But what happens if I come to Spain on this visa and I want to start my own business?
Well, unfortunately, the law does not contemplate or specify this specific case.
Right,
Unfortunately, it is established for specific openings. Or,
right,
for example, in the case of there are specific, for example, certain enterprises are looking for qualified workers on specific geographical areas for specific occupations. uh, then that's the only way, so to say, for those foreigners to come to Spain.
yeah,
For descendants or for children or grandchildren of Spanish citizens, they're not subjected to that restrictions. Their situation is a little bit more flexible, but
yeah,
still they will not be entitled to start their own business in Spain while on this visa.
right.
They'll have
Okay,
to
but
go a different
if
step with
somebody does want to start their own business in Spain, again, another hypothetical, then it would be possible to, say, for example, have the self-employed visa.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I think really, Ivan, we're in a position where, as of the 27th of March, we don't really know too much.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah. So if
There's still a lot
anybody's
of uncertainty.
So if anybody's looking for advice on a Spanish visa, and indeed anything else like buying a property, taxes, wills, probate, anything like that, get in touch with us at contact@justlawsolicitors.com. In particular, if you want an appointment with Ivan or Anna, if you go on the website, look at the homepage, at the top of the page, there's a thing saying a visa appointment, something like that, and you can click on that and you can make an appointment direct with Ivan or Anna. And of course, there just so many different visas, and we're in the fortunate position that we're going to get a new one, but we don't know all the details. Well, anyway, Ivan,
So
well, thanks for that, and hopefully you can come back on and tell us what the geographical locations are and the sectors are when we find them out.
we'll pay attention for any updates from the ministry.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you.
It's
Thanks.
been an absolute pleasure, John. Take
Thank you.
care.